want to make a comment. Price fixing has never worked. And I'm in my 60s, and even looking back further than that, it's always had to be corrected because it just doesn't work. And yet the governor's, Ms. Barrow, you said it was the signal to motivate other states to take corrective action with their rules and policies that are limiting the coal, natural gas, and other production, the base load for those states. I've got relatives in the Delmarva Peninsula. I've got friends down there. They're benefiting from this right now, but we're here representing the people of Pennsylvania. By giving that incentive to the consumers in Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, there's no pressure on the legislature to fix this stuff that they've created. And that's the problem. What would be the impact on Pennsylvania in terms of supply, as well as what it would do to benefit businesses and others if Pennsylvania got out of the PJM and created a model like ERCOT in Texas, where the power lines stop at the state border?
So I think I get that question asked a lot, Senator, as you can imagine, and the leaving PJM is the easy part. What happens after PJM? And you know, you used ERCOT as an example. That's one model.
Yes.
You can use New York as an example, where they have their own in-state ISO, but they're still interconnected with the intercontinental grid. I would be very hesitant of not being interconnected in an intercontinental grid, because we've seen what happens in Texas when you go your own. Lots of people died there. I think that, for me personally, whether we go our own or not, that's one conversation, but I think we still should be interconnected into the intercontinental grid, though.
I agree we should, but what I don't want is any longer Maryland.
I hear you. That's conversations Senator Phillips and I have had a lot of, and I hear what you're saying. I will say that some of those policies, you know, the LNP prices that Senator Pittman was talking about earlier, I think have caused some states to reevaluate some of those policies. I know Maryland is trying to bring some gas generation in there. I think they've actually done legislation where they're trying to bring gas generation into the state. So I think that, you know, some of those policies from years past, this tightened grid is causing everyone to relook at
There's
those.
still hesitancy there, and it's interesting. We're pumping natural gas down to Cove Point in Maryland, and we're fueling Europe. Yeah. Maryland should be taking advantage of that. Virginia should be taking advantage of that pipeline and generating their own down there. But unfortunately, yeah, there's legislation in Maryland, but my sense from some of the Maryland legislature is that there's not enough support yet to get there. And I don't see it unless the consumers start feeling it, and the constituents that have been driving this narrative to go to wind and solar to the extent that it's detrimental to the constituents. I don't see a change to that. So, and to Senator Phillips Hill, I've got problems with that whole thing about taking up our farmlands, preserved farmlands and stuff as well. So for exporting this to people who actually don't have any kind of grasp of reality. So I appreciate that answer. What do you see as the small impact, or the impacts on the grid with small nuclear? The stuff they just flew one out of on a C-17 into Utah to power up a base out there. What do you see as the impact of that?
So I think small modular nuclear is certainly, you know, when we saw. I think that if we see new nuclear generation, that's likely what it's going to be. You know, the older large-scale nuclear plants, we've seen one being built in Georgia. Cost overruns from that plant doubled. So I think you're probably going to see smaller plants like small modular nuclear. One of the things we always hear about that is, oh, it's 10 years away, it's 10 years away. Well, at some point it is going to be 10 years away. And as the price point, that's the one thing, is the PJM market, you know, higher prices are good and bad. In that they're bad, we're paying higher prices, but it brings other nascent technologies online that would not have been brought online otherwise with lower markets, lower costs of the markets.
Thank you very much. And the one thing I want to, going back to my original point, Governor Shapiro, 2 years from now, is going to be benefiting in those 13 states where he's helped drive. It'll be a talking point for him if he's running for president. That'll be a talking point. I don't want that talking point. We have got to do some things. Take care of Pennsylvania first. Thank you.